The transport ship appeared over Seoul without warning, just as the sun rose on a cold Tuesday morning. Hana Kim stood in the hospital parking lot, her surgical scrubs still spotted with blood from her last operation. She had worked for 36 hours straight. 3 car accident victims, 2 emergency heart surgeries, and 1 child who swallowed a battery. She was so tired that her hand shook as she reached for her coffee cup. Her phone buzzed. Then everyone's phone buzzed. Every screen in the city lit up with the same message. Hana Kim, Seoul National University Hospital. You have been selected. Please remain where you are. She looked up at the sky. The massive ship hung there like a silver cloud. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Hana felt her stomach drop. She knew what this meant. Everyone on Earth knew. The aliens had been watching for decades. They said they would come when humanity was ready. They said they would choose someone to take a test. Hana had never expected it to be her. Military vehicles surrounded the hospital within minutes. Her older brother Do-yoon arrived in his Air Force uniform, his face tight with worry. Hana, let me go instead. I'm trained for this. You're exhausted. The selection is absolute, a voice said. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Hana Kim must come alone. A beam of light surrounded her. Hana grabbed her brother's hand one last time, then felt herself lifted into the air. The city disappeared below her. She rose into the ship, through layers of metal and light, until she stood in a white room that seemed to have no walls. 3 aliens waited for her. The first one looked like it was made of crystal. Light moved through its body in slow waves. The second appeared to be made of water, held together by an invisible force. The third was something she could barely look at directly. It hurt her eyes to try. I am Veltris, the crystal being said. Its voice sounded inside her head, not in her ears. I am the administrator for this sector. Welcome to your first contact trial. Human. Hana swallowed hard. Her mouth was dry. What do I have to do? A simple test, Veltris said. The alien's crystalline form shifted, and Hana could sense something like boredom in the movement. You will enter a testing chamber. You must navigate through a spatial maze while solving pattern recognition puzzles. The environment will be disorienting. You have 1 attempt. If you succeed, your species will be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Coalition. If you fail, we will return in another century or 2 to test humanity again. What's the time limit? Hana asked. There is no limit, Veltris said. However, the average completion time across all species is between 45 and 60 seconds. This is considered the universal baseline for sentience capable of spacefaring civilization. The current record is 37 seconds, held by a species with 12 parallel processing brains. Veltris moved closer. Hana could see her own reflection in the alien's crystal surface, distorted and small. Humans have only 1 brain, correct? A single processing organ? We expect you will take the full 60 seconds. Perhaps longer. Do not be discouraged. Most species do. Hana felt anger cut through her exhaustion. She had just saved 3 lives in the past hour alone. She had held together a man's torn heart with her bare hands while waiting for a suture kit. She had talked the child through her fear while removing a corrosive battery from her throat. And this alien thought humans were slow? I'm ready, Hana said. Veltris seemed surprised. Would you not like to rest first? Prepare yourself mentally? I've been preparing my whole life, Hana said. Let's do this. The chamber door opened. It looked like a tunnel of mirrors and shadows. Hana could see infinite versions of herself stretching in every direction. She stepped inside. Good luck, young human, Veltris said. The trial begins in 3, 2, 1. The world exploded. Gravity stopped making sense. Hannah felt herself pulled in 6 directions at once. Up became down, became sideways, became something else entirely. Colors inverted and split apart. Red became a dozen shades she had never seen before. The walls were moving, or maybe she was moving, or maybe everything was moving at once. Her body existed in multiple places simultaneously. She could see her hand in front of her face, and also 10 feet away, and also behind her head. The pattern puzzles appeared as floating geometric shapes that hurt to look at directly. They shifted and changed according to rules she didn't understand. Outside the chamber, Veltris watched the monitors. The timer started counting. 5 seconds elapsed. The human should still be trying to orient herself. Most species spent the first 20 seconds just learning to stand. But inside the chamber, something else was happening. Hannah didn't try to understand the maze. She didn't try to logic her way through the puzzles. Her mind slipped into a different mode, the same mode she used in emergency surgery. She let the chaos wash over her and looked for patterns underneath. In trauma surgery, you don't have time to think. Alarms are blaring. Blood is everywhere. Multiple patients need you at once. You have to filter out the noise and see what matters. You have to trust your instincts. Hannah moved. She didn't know why she turned left instead of right. Her hand reached out and touched a puzzle piece, rotating it in a way that felt correct. The path forward became clear, just for a moment. She took it. Veltris stood up from the observation panel. 8 seconds had elapsed. The human was moving too fast. This wasn't right. Hannah ran. The gravity kept shifting, but she shifted with it. The colors kept changing, but she stopped trying to understand them. She just moved where it felt safe, touched what felt right, solved puzzles by instinct rather than logic. 10 seconds. Veltris's crystal form vibrated with alarm. Stop the trial. There must be a malfunction. No malfunction detected, the water being said. The human is simply very fast. 11 seconds. Warning lights flashed across the monitors. The system thought something was wrong. No species moved this quickly through this disorientation phase. 12 seconds. Hannah stepped out of the chamber and stood in front of the completion podium. She was breathing hard, but she was smiling. Her hands had stopped shaking. She felt more awake than she had in hours. The chamber fell silent. Every alien in the observation room stared at the timer. 12.3 seconds. Veltris made a sound like breaking glass. Impossible. Run a diagnostic on all systems. This cannot be accurate. But the diagnostic came back clean. The timer was correct. The trial was valid. Hannah Kim, an exhausted surgeon from Earth, had just broken the galactic record by a factor of 3. And she had no idea that in doing so, she had just changed the course of human history forever. Veltris refused to believe it. The crystal alien circled Hannah like a professor examining a suspicious exam paper. The other coalition observers crowded around the monitors, their various forms of communication filling the air with clicks, whistles, and telepathic bursts that Hannah's translator rendered as confused noise. "We will run the trial again," Veltris announced. There must have been interference. Perhaps the human's primitive neural structure created an unexpected interaction with the testing field. Hannah wiped sweat from her forehead. "I can go again." But it wasn't a mistake. I knew what I was doing. "You cannot possibly have known," Veltris said. The alien's voice was sharp now, the boredom gone. The spatial temporal maze is different for every species. It adapts to your specific cognitive weaknesses. It should have been impossible for you to navigate it that quickly. But I did, Hannah said simply. The second trial began 3 minutes later. Hannah stepped back into the chamber. This time, she knew what to expect. When the gravity shifted, she was already moving. When the colors split apart, she had already stopped trying to see them normally. Her surgeon's instincts took over completely. She thought of her mentor, Dr. Sun-hee Park, who had trained her in emergency procedures. "Don't think about the blood," Sun-hee had said. "Don't think about the pressure. Just see the patterns. Your hands know what to do." Hannah's hands knew what to do now. She touched puzzle pieces without looking directly at them. She turned down corridors that her eyes said were walls. She trusted the feeling in her gut that said, this way or not that way. The timer counted. 8 seconds. 9 seconds. 10 seconds. Hannah emerged from the chamber at 11.8 seconds. Veltris made that breaking glass sound again. The other aliens began arguing in their own languages. The water being flowed rapidly back and forth across the room. The thing that hurt to look at flickered in and out of visible space. Again, Veltris said. Hannah ran the trial 4 more times. Each time, she got faster. 11.8 seconds. Then 10.9 seconds. Then 10.1 seconds. On the final attempt, she completed the maze in 9.4 seconds. She had beaten the galactic record, the record that had stood for 300 years by almost 4 times. And she had done it 5 times in a row, getting faster each time. When Hannah finally stopped, she bent over with her hands on her knees, catching her breath. Her legs trembled from exhaustion. She had been awake for almost 40 hours now, but she felt alive. She felt like she had proven something important, though she wasn't sure what. Veltris approached her slowly. "How?" the alien asked. "Our models predict that your neural structure should make this trial harder for you, not easier. You have single-threaded processing, linear time perception, limited sensory range. You should be one of the slowest species we have ever tested." Hannah straightened up. "Maybe your models are wrong. Our models have been accurate for 87 species across 900 years of testing." "Then maybe," Hannah said. "You've never tested anyone from a planet like Earth before." The words hung in the air. The aliens went quiet. Even the background hum of their communications stopped. "Explain," Veltris said. Hannah thought about how to put it into words. "I'm a trauma surgeon." "Do you know what that means?" "It means people come to me when they're dying. When they've been in car crashes or industrial accidents or their hearts are failing. And I have to fix them. Fast. I don't get to think about it for an hour. I don't get to consult with 12 parallel processing brains. I have to make decisions in seconds with incomplete information while everything is going wrong at once." She gestured at the testing chamber. "That maze you put me in? It was chaos. Everything shifting and changing and nothing making sense. But that's just Tuesday for me. That's what every emergency surgery feels like. You learn to move through the chaos. You learn to trust your instincts because thinking takes too long." Veltris' crystal form shifted through several colors. "You are saying that your profession specifically trained you for this trial?" "No," Hannah said. "I'm saying that Earth trained all of us for this kind of thing. Life on our planet is chaos. Earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, diseases, predators. We've been dealing with impossible situations since before we learned to walk upright. We got good at adapting because the ones who couldn't adapt died." The water being spoke for the first time, its voice like rain on metal. "You are describing a death world. Your planet meets the criteria for Class 7 hostile environment designation." "I don't know what that means," Hannah said. "But yeah, Earth is dangerous. It's hard. And it made us hard too." Veltris turned to the other observers. "We need to report this immediately. The human may be an anomaly, but if she is not..." The alien trailed off. "If I'm not?" Hannah asked. "Then we have severely miscalculated what your species is capable of," Veltris said quietly. "And the Coalition needs to know that." Within an hour, a dozen more ships arrived. Coalition scientists poured into the observation room, bringing scanning equipment and testing devices. They examined Hannah from every angle. They mapped her brain activity. They analyzed her genetic code. They even made her solve puzzles while they watched her neural patterns. A stern alien named Kix took charge of the investigation. Kix looked like a floating collection of geometric shapes, constantly rearranging into different configurations. "Strip away all assumptions," Kix ordered the team. "We need to know if this is a singular anomaly or a species-wide capability." They found nothing unusual. Hannah's brain was standard for a human. Her genetics showed no special modifications. Her physical capabilities were average for her species. If anything, she was below average sleep-deprived, undernourished from missed meals, running on caffeine and adrenaline. "This makes no sense," Kix said. Its shape spinning rapidly in what Hannah was learning meant frustration. "By every metric we have, you should be slower, weaker, less capable." "Maybe your metrics are wrong," Hannah suggested again. Kix's shape stopped spinning. "Or maybe we have been measuring the wrong things." The scientists conferred for hours. Hannah was given food strange, but edible, and a place to rest. She fell asleep immediately, her exhausted body finally giving out. She dreamed of the maze, of shifting gravity and impossible colors. In her dreams, she ran through it even faster. When she woke up, Veltris was waiting beside her. The crystal alien looked different somehow, smaller, less confident. "Your species has been approved for provisional membership," Veltris said. "The council had no choice. You passed the trial. But they have questions." "Many questions? About me?" Hannah asked, sitting up. "About all of you," Veltris said. "We need to know if you are special, Hannah Kim, or if every human can do what you did." Hannah thought about her brother Do-yoon, who flew combat jets through weather that should be impossible. She thought about her sister Minji, who ran marathons in conditions that hospitalized other runners. She thought about her colleagues at the hospital, who worked 100-hour weeks and never seemed to break. "I'm not special," Hannah said. "I'm just a surgeon. There are millions of us on Earth. Some are way better than me." Veltris' crystal form shimmered with something that might have been fear. "That," the alien said quietly, "is what we are afraid of." The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council happened within 24 hours. Representatives from 47 member species gathered in a massive chamber that floated somewhere between dimensions. Veltris stood at the center, presenting the findings. The crystal alien's voice was transmitted to every consciousness in the room. The human completed the trial in 9.4 seconds on her final attempt. This is not a small improvement over the previous record. This is a fundamental break from everything we understand about cognitive processing and spatial navigation. A murmur ran through the assembled species. Kix stepped forward, its geometric shapes arranged in a formal pattern. "We have verified the results. No equipment malfunction. No biological augmentation. No deception. The human female simply performed at a level we did not think was possible." An ancient being spoke from the back of the chamber. It looked like coral made of light. One exceptional individual does not represent an entire species. Perhaps this human is a mutation, a genetic anomaly. That is what we believed as well, Kix said. So we have requested additional humans for testing. They will arrive within 3 days. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the news had spread across every screen and every network. Hannah Kim's face was everywhere. The girl who beat the alien test in 12 seconds. The surgeon who proved humanity was ready. Do-hyun sat in his apartment with his younger sister, Minji, watching the analysis programs. Military experts were being interviewed. Scientists were speculating. Politicians were already arguing about what this meant for Earth's future. "They're not celebrating," Minji said quietly. She was 20 years old, a national-level track athlete who specialized in ultramarathons. Their planning. Doyun nodded. He understood military thinking. If one random human can do this, they want to know what trained specialists can do. They want to know what soldiers can do. On the television, a general was speaking. This demonstrates that human capabilities may have been underestimated, including by ourselves. We need to reassess our training programs and our understanding of human performance limits. Minji turned off the TV. Do you think Hannah knows what she started? No, Doyun said. She probably just thinks she took a test. 3 days later, 5 more humans arrived at the coalition facility. The council had selected them carefully to represent different types of human capability. Wu Sheng was a mountain rescue specialist who had saved lives in conditions that killed most people. Yunji was a fighter pilot who could handle G-forces that made other species lose consciousness. Kyung was a professional esports player with reaction times in the top 1% of humanity. Haijin was a classical musician who had perfect pitch and could process complex patterns instantly. And Jiwan was a deep-sea welder who worked in pressure environments that would crush most life forms. Hana watched from the observation room as each of them entered the testing chamber. She felt nervous for them. She knew what they were about to experience. Wuzum went first. The mountain rescue specialist approached the chamber with calm confidence. When the trial began, he moved through the chaos like he was navigating an avalanche, reading the danger, finding the safe path, trusting his survival instincts. He finished in 14.2 seconds. The coalition scientists looked at each other. One anomaly might be chance. 2 suggested a pattern. Unji went next. The pilot treated the shifting gravity like turbulence, the spatial distortions like visual illusions in a high-speed fight. Her training had prepared her to trust her instruments over her senses, but now she had to trust her senses over everything. She adapted. 11.7 seconds. Kyung approached the trial like a game. He had spent 10,000 hours training his reflexes, pattern recognition, and decision-making speed. The spatial maze was just another game with different rules. He learned them quickly. 13.1 seconds. Haijin surprised everyone, including herself. The musician had never considered herself athletic or quick, but her brain was trained to process multiple complex patterns, simultaneously reading music, while playing, while listening, while adjusting. The puzzle patterns in the maze were just another kind of music. 12.8 seconds. G1 was the slowest, but slowest was relative. The deep-sea welder moved with careful deliberation, the same way he worked underwater in darkness and pressure. But that deliberation was fast by any standard except the insane baseline the humans had already set. 15.3 seconds. When the last trial ended, the coalition facility fell silent. Every species representative present understood what they were seeing. This was not an anomaly. This was not a mutation. This was humanity. QIX presented the findings to the emergency council session. 5 humans. Different professions, different training, different genetic backgrounds. All of them completed the trial in under 16 seconds. The fastest would have broken the old record. The slowest still finished twice as fast as our average baseline. The coral being spoke again. What is the explanation? What makes them so capable? Kix's shapes rearranged into a teaching configuration. We have analyzed the data extensively. The key is not any single trait. It is the combination of multiple factors that Earth's environment created. Let me explain. Kix brought up a holographic display of Earth. First, understand that Earth is classified as a Class 7 hostile environment. This is rare for life-bearing worlds. The planet has extreme weather variations, active tectonics, high gravity, aggressive microbial life, and numerous large predator species. Most worlds at this hostility level do not develop sentient life. Earth did. The display showed human evolution over millions of years. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. They could not outrun their prey, so they outlasted it. They ran for hours, days even, until the prey collapsed. This created exceptional endurance and pain tolerance. Another image appeared, showing human brain scans. Their social structure created complex communication capabilities and cooperation instincts. They can coordinate actions across large groups with minimal information. They can predict what others will do based on tiny behavioral cues. But the critical factor, Kix continued, is crisis adaptation. Humans evolved in an environment where everything was trying to kill them. Weather could change from safe to deadly in minutes. Predators attacked from any direction. Food sources appeared and disappeared unpredictably. The humans who survived were the ones who could adapt fastest to changing conditions. Veltris stood up. I spent time researching human professions after meeting Hana Kim. Do you know what a trauma surgeon does? They cut into dying bodies and make life or death decisions with incomplete information while under extreme time pressure. And this is considered a normal profession on Earth. There are millions of them. The alien gestured at the holographic displays. Yoonji the pilot? She flies machines at speeds that create forces strong enough to kill. For recreation, humans do this for recreation. Woo-sung rescues people from mountains during avalanches. Ji-won works underwater in pressure that would crush most of our species. These are not their warriors. These are not their best. These are average humans doing average jobs. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some species were excited. Others were afraid. And some were angry that Earth had been overlooked for so long. An elderly diplomat stood. Its species looked like walking crystal trees. What you are describing is not a civilized species. You are describing apex predators who learn to cooperate. Yes, Kix said simply. That is exactly what humans are. And they are very, very good at it. The vote was called. Earth would be granted provisional membership. There was no choice after they had passed the trial. But restrictions would be placed. Humanity would be studied, evaluated, and carefully integrated. Some council members wanted strict limits on human expansion into the galaxy. Others had a different idea. A military commander spoke up. Its species resembled metallic insects. The coalition has been stagnant for centuries. We control our territory, but we do not expand. We have few conflicts because we avoid them. We are comfortable, safe. The commander paused. Maybe we need to be less comfortable. Maybe we need to learn what these humans know. How to adapt. How to survive. How to push through when things are impossible. The suggestion caused another wave of argument. But slowly, a consensus formed. Humanity would join the coalition. But Earth would also become a training ground. Any species that wanted to test themselves, to grow stronger, to learn human capabilities, they would come to Earth. The vote passed. Veltris was assigned as the liaison. The crystal alien accepted the role with mixed feelings. Pride at the importance of the position. Fear of what it might discover about humanity. And something new, something Veltris had never felt before in 900 years of service. Excitement. Because for the first time in a very long time, the galaxy was about to change. And it was all because one tired surgeon ran a maze in 12 seconds and showed the universe what humans could do. Hannah wanted to go home. She missed her hospital, her patients, her small apartment with the broken heater and the view of the city. But the coalition had other plans. They asked her politely, but firmly, to stay at the facility as Earth's representative liaison. In reality, she knew she was still a research subject. They wanted to understand what made humans different. The facility became her new home. It was comfortable enough, with rooms that adjusted to her needs and food that was mostly edible. But it felt like a very nice cage. Other humans arrived over the following weeks. Wu Sheng, Yunji, Kyung, Haijin, and Ji1 stayed too. They were all supposed to be ambassadors, but really they were specimens. Hannah found Wu Sheng in the common area one evening. The mountain rescue specialist was staring out the window at the stars. "Do you think we'll ever go back?" he asked. "Eventually," Hannah said. "Once they figure out what they want from us." "They're scared," Wu Sheng said. "I can see it in how they watch us. Like we're dangerous." "Maybe we are," Hannah said quietly. Kix arrived the next day with a team of xenobiologists. The geometric alien had spent weeks compiling data, and now it was ready to present its findings. All the humans were gathered in a conference room, along with Veltris and several other coalition representatives. "We have identified what makes humans exceptional," Kix began. "Its shapes arrange themselves into a teaching pattern. It is not one thing. It is everything." The alien brought up holographic displays showing human physiology, neurology, and evolutionary history. Let me explain each factor. First, endurance. Humans evolved as persistence hunters on a high-gravity world. Your cardiovascular system is exceptional. You can run for hours without stopping. You can work for days with minimal rest. Most species in the coalition need frequent breaks. Humans do not. Onji raised her hand. "That's just normal for us, though. Everyone can do that." "Exactly," Kix said. "What is normal for you is exceptional for us." Second factor, pain tolerance. Your nervous system can suppress pain signals to allow continued function during injury. You can fight, work, or flee even when seriously hurt. Most species become incapacitated much earlier. The alien continued. Third, adaptability. Earth has extreme environmental variation. Deserts, frozen wastelands, jungles, mountains, oceans. Humans live in all of them. Your bodies can adapt to different climates, different diets, different pressures and temperatures. You are generalists in a galaxy full of specialists. Veltris spoke up. Most species in the coalition evolved in stable environments. One climate, one ecosystem. They are optimized for those conditions. Humans are optimized for change itself. Fourth factor, Kix said, threat assessment. Earth has many predator species. Attacks could come from any direction: ground, air, water. Humans develop 360-degree awareness. You can process multiple threats simultaneously and prioritize responses instinctively. Haijin looked uncomfortable. "Are you saying we're predators?" "You are apex predators who became social," Kix said. This is the fifth factor, cooperation. Most apex predators are solitary. Humans hunt in groups. You share information efficiently. You coordinate complex actions with minimal communication. You can predict what your group members will do based on tiny behavioral cues. Ji1 laughed. "You're making us sound scary." "You should be scary," Veltris said. "But you are also civilized. This is what makes you unique. You have all the capabilities of apex predators, but you also have empathy, art, science, and philosophy. You are dangerous and kind at the same time." Kix's shapes shifted to a new configuration. The sixth and most important factor, crisis neurology. Human brains are uniquely structured for emergency response. When faced with immediate danger, your cognitive processing changes. Time seems to slow down. Unnecessary thoughts stop. Instinct and training take over. You enter what you call the zone. Hannah recognized this immediately. It was what happened during surgery. The moment when everything else disappeared and only the patient mattered. Most species cannot do this, Kix explained. Their brains continue normal processing even during crisis, which slows response time. Humans switch modes. You become faster, more focused, more capable under pressure. This is why you excel in the spatial maze trial. It simulates a crisis, and crisis is where humans are strongest. The room was quiet as everyone absorbed this information. Finally, King asked, "So what does this mean for us?" "For Earth?" Veltris answered. "It means the Coalition has to reconsider everything we thought we knew about human capabilities. We evaluated you as if you were a normal civilized species. But you are not normal. You are a species of survivors from a death world who learned to be civilized despite your environment, not because of it." Kix brought up one final display. "Let me show you something that disturbed us greatly." We analyzed human professions and compared them to equivalent roles in other species. The display showed statistics. Human emergency responders experience stress levels that would cause most species to resign within weeks. You do it for years. Human military personnel train in conditions that would be considered torture for other species. You'd call it standard training. Human doctors work 100-hour weeks during residency. Most species have laws preventing such schedules because the cognitive impairment would be dangerous. But for humans, it is normal. "Here is what frightens the Council," Veltris said quietly. "Hanakim is not exceptional for a human. She is average. Perhaps even below average in some areas. She was sleep-deprived, undernourished, and exhausted when she took the trial. And she still broke our records." The crystal alien turned to face all the humans. What could a rested, trained, optimized human do? What could your warriors do? Your pilots? Your strategists? The Council is not just impressed by your capabilities. They are concerned about what those capabilities could become. Wu Zheng stood up. "Are you saying you're afraid of us?" "Yes," Veltris said honestly. "Some species are. They see humans as a threat. They want to limit your expansion, restrict your access to technology, keep you contained to your own solar system." "And the others?" Hannah asked. "Others see opportunity," Kix said. "The Coalition has been stagnant for centuries. We are comfortable, safe. We have forgotten how to grow, how to adapt, how to face real challenges. We control our territory, but we do not expand beyond it. We avoid conflict rather than resolving it. We are slowly becoming weaker." Veltris' crystal form shimmered with something like hope. "Some of us believe humans can teach us what we have forgotten. How to push limits. How to adapt. How to survive impossible situations. How to be strong again. You want us to train you?" Yunji asked incredulously. "Not just us," Kix said. "All Coalition species who choose to participate. We are proposing that Earth becomes a training center. Any species member who wants to test themselves, to grow stronger, to learn human methods, they would come to your world." The humans looked at each other. Hannah thought about what this meant. Aliens coming to Earth to learn from humans. The species that everyone thought was primitive, teaching the galactic civilization how to survive. What would we teach them? Hygiene asked. "Everything," Veltris said. "Medicine, disaster response, combat, engineering, crisis management. Any field where humans excel under pressure. We want to understand not just what you do, but how you think. How you stay calm in chaos. How you keep going when others would give up." Jiwang grinned. "You want to learn how to be stubborn. Persistence," Kix corrected. "Resilience. Determination. Whatever you call it, humans have it in abundance. And we need it." Hannah stood up. She thought about her years of medical training. The impossible hours, the constant pressure, the weight of responsibility. She had always thought of it as just part of the job. But maybe it was more than that. Maybe it was something worth sharing. "I'll do it," she said. "I'll teach what I know." But I want to go back to my hospital too. I have patients who need me. Of course, Beltris said. We are not asking you to abandon your life. We are asking you to share your knowledge. One by one, the other humans agreed. They would be ambassadors, teachers, and examples. They would show the galaxy what Earth had made them, and they would change the coalition forever. 6 months passed. Hana returned to Seoul, to her hospital, to her life. But now that life included 1 evening per week teaching at the coalition facility that had been built on the outskirts of the city. It looked like a silver tower rising from the mountains, filled with aliens who had come to Earth to learn. Her first class arrived on a cold evening in November. 20 students from 12 different species. Beltris was among them. The crystal alien had taken a leave of absence from administrative duties to understand what they had missed about humanity. Hana stood in front of the classroom, looking at the assembled aliens. Some had multiple limbs. Some floated. Some looked like they were made of light or liquid or geometric shapes. All of them watched her with curiosity and something that might have been nervousness. Thank you for coming, Hana said. I'm not really a teacher. I'm a surgeon. So I'm going to teach you the way I learned by doing. Follow me. She led them out of the facility and into the city. They took a transport to Seoul National University Hospital, the same hospital where Hana had been working the day the aliens arrived. The emergency department was busy, as always. Friday night in a major city meant accidents, injuries, and medical emergencies. We're going to observe, Hana explained. Just watch. Try to understand what you're seeing. She brought them into the observation area overlooking the emergency room. Below, human medical teams moved in controlled chaos. A multi-vehicle accident had just arrived. 15 casualties, various injuries, all needing immediate attention. At the same time, 2 overdose patients were being treated. A child was having an allergic reaction. An elderly man was in cardiac arrest. And a woman was in premature labor. The aliens watched in stunned silence. The human team split up automatically, each group taking specific patients. No one gave orders. They just moved where they were needed. Doctors, nurses, and technicians coordinated their actions. Through quick verbal exchanges and subtle gestures, Hana pointed out the details. Watch Dr. Junho over there. He's managing 3 patients at once. His hands are working on the accident victim, but he's listening to the nurse's report on the cardiac patient, and he's watching the monitors for the overdose case. He's processing all of it simultaneously. That should be impossible, Beltris said. How can he divide his attention that way? Practice, Hana said. He's been doing this for 15 years. His brain knows what to filter out and what to focus on. Watch his hands. They never stop moving. Even when he's looking somewhere else, his hands know what to do. Below, a crisis developed. One of the accident victims was crashing. Multiple injuries, internal bleeding, vital signs dropping. The team around that patient moved faster. Someone called for surgery. Someone else started blood transfusions. A nurse was already preparing the operating room. Hana was called down. She excused herself and ran to join the team. The aliens watched from above. She scrubbed in and entered the operating room. What happened next would stay with Beltris forever. Hana worked for 3 hours straight on the accident victim. The patient's injuries were severe ruptured organs, internal bleeding, broken bones. But Hana's hands never shook. Her voice never rose. She gave instructions calmly while her hands moved with impossible precision. At one point, the patient's heart stopped. Hana performed cardiac massage while simultaneously directing the VA's anesthesiologist to adjust medications and telling the surgical nurse which instruments she would need next. She was managing 3 things at once in the middle of a crisis while covered in blood. The heart restarted. The bleeding was controlled. The organs were repaired. After 3 hours, Hana stepped back and let the closing team finish. The patient would survive. She returned to the observation area still wearing her surgical scrubs. The aliens were silent. How? Veltris asked. How did you do that? Hana looked tired but satisfied. I just did my job. That's what we do here. Every day. Multiple times per day. You saved that person's life, a water being said. In our species, that person would have died. Our medical response time is too slow. Our doctors cannot process information that quickly. Then your doctors should come train here, Hana said simply. We can teach them. Over the following months, more coalition members arrived. They came to hospitals, fire departments, police stations, military bases. Everywhere humans worked under pressure, aliens came to learn. Do-yoon became a flight instructor. He taught coalition pilots how to handle extreme conditions. Most alien pilots relied heavily on automated systems. Do-yoon showed them how to fly manually, how to trust their instincts, how to push their craft to the limits. His student pilots were terrified at first. Do-yoon took them through storms, through combat simulations, through scenarios where everything went wrong at once. But gradually, they learned. They started to understand what Do-yoon meant when he said, "Don't fight the chaos. Flow with it." Minji joined an exchange program for athletics. She competed in coalition games and shattered records. Other species had specialized advantages. Some had 4 legs. Some could manipulate air resistance. Some had enhanced muscle structures. But Minji had something else, the ability to suffer. She could push through pain that made other species stop. She could run until her body was screaming for rest, and then run further. After one race, a competitor asked her, "How do you keep going when it hurts so much?" Minji shrugged. "You just do. The pain is temporary. Giving up is permanent." Across Earth, similar scenes played out. Human emergency responders taught disaster management. Human engineers showed how to improvise solutions with limited resources. Human negotiators handled the coalition's most difficult disputes, using their ability to read emotions and predict behavior. Woo-sung led mountain rescue training. He took coalition members into Earth's harshest environments and taught them survival. Many species had never experienced true physical danger before. Their home worlds were safe, controlled. Woo-sung showed them what it meant to survive when everything was trying to kill you. Eunji trained pilots in combat tactics. Kyung taught rapid decision-making and pattern recognition. Haijin showed how to process multiple complex inputs simultaneously. Jiwan brought people to deep-sea work sites and taught them how to function under extreme pressure. And everywhere, the same lesson was repeated. Humans were not stronger or faster or smarter than other species, but they were more adaptable, more persistent, more willing to push through impossible situations. A year after first contact, Veltris returned to the coalition headquarters for a report. The council gathered to hear what had been learned. "Earth has changed us," Veltris said. "Our people who train there come back different, stronger, more confident. They learned that their limits are not fixed, that they can adapt and grow and become more than they were." The coral being from the original meeting asked, "Have we made a mistake by bringing humans into the coalition? Are they a threat?" "They are not a threat," Veltris said firmly. "They are teachers. They show us what we forgot, that growth requires challenge. That strength comes from overcoming difficulty. That comfort makes you weak." Kix added data to support this. Coalition members who have trained on Earth show improved performance across all metrics. Better crisis response, better adaptability, better teamwork. The humans call it getting tougher. We call it evolution. The council voted to expand the Earth program. More facilities would be built. More humans would be recruited as instructors. Earth would become the coalition's premier training center for any species that wanted to push their limits. Hannah heard about the vote while working a night shift at the hospital. She smiled to herself while suturing a patient's wound. Humanity had joined the galactic community not by being perfect, but by being resilient. Not by being the best at everything, but by being good enough at everything to survive. Later that week, she returned to the Coalition facility for her regular teaching session. Veltris met her at the entrance. "We need to discuss something," the crystal alien said. "The testing trial. We're redesigning it. The current version is too easy now that we understand human capabilities. We need a harder test for future species." "How much harder?" Hannah asked. "We've designed something that should take an exceptional human at least 30 seconds to complete. We want you to test it." Hannah agreed. She entered the new testing chamber. This one was significantly more complex than the first. Multiple spatial dimensions folded over each other. The puzzles were more intricate. The disorientation was more intense. Everything was designed by the Coalition's best minds to challenge. Even a human. The trial began. Hannah moved through the maze like water flowing downhill, taking the path of least resistance, adapting instantly to each obstacle, trusting her instincts completely. The chaos washed over her, but did not slow her down. She emerged from the chamber at 15 seconds. Veltris made that breaking glass sound again, but this time it sounded like laughter. "Earthborn girl," the alien said, "I think we're going to need a harder test." Hannah grinned. Her exhaustion from the night shift was gone, replaced by the adrenaline of the challenge. Good, we were getting bored. Veltris' crystal form shimmered with genuine amusement and respect. "Your species is going to keep surprising us, isn't it?" "Probably," Hannah said. "That's what we do. We adapt. We overcome. We survive."